Mike, he's getting a raise of $4 million. And that's going to take him to fifth among SEC head football coaches. Greetings and salutations and welcome to the Odd Coaches Podcast. I am your host, Dr. Keith Adams, and with me today is my tag team partner. I'm liking his work, so I'm going to let you be my Damian Priest to my Dominic Mysterio, because that fake prison gimmick is hilarious. Because you know he's no darn good, but he's getting the wrong kind of heat, and I like it. The icon, the showstopper, the main event, and the reason why we are here, Coach Mike Francis. And Coach, we're in WrestleMania season with the Rumble ending, and I do want to see how they're going to do the Dominique Rey Mysterio retirement angle, however that works out. But how you doing this morning, man?
I'm doing well, sir. How you doing this morning?
I must be doing well if I'm talking about Dom Mysterio. I must be in a good mood. All right, so on this Throwdown Thursday edition, we're going to check in on some Power 5 programs. We're going to talk about National Signing Day, and we're going to talk about San Diego State to the Pac-12, possibly. We're going to dive into that a little more deeper. But first, Mike, now that it's quiet, let's talk Michigan State football and one of our favorite coaches, Mel Tucker. So at least 4 more Michigan State football players facing misdemeanor charges for a skirmish inside of Michigan Stadium will likely have their cases dismissed in exchange for community service and other conditions. Scuffles broke out in the tunnel after Michigan defeated Michigan State 29-7 in October. You saw the videos. Videos was all over the place. Everybody's outraged. Everybody's screaming. This is assault, felonies, this blah, blah. And now, community service, and thank you for coming. Good night. Mike, as we wrap this one up in the bow, any thoughts about that other than, hey, Michigan, can we get some security?
Yo, why are they in the same tunnel?
Still comes back to
why are they seeing the tunnel? That's schematic. That's not their problem, man. That's systematic problem. That's not theirs. Like, how do you have them all in the same tunnel? How do you do that? You put a kid in that situation. I just don't get it. And then we want to charge them? Get out of here, man.
All right. So now let's go to the U. And I want to know if they gave him the hook too quick. Miami has fired Josh Gaddis as offensive coordinator after one season, Coach Mario Cristobal announced last week. When Gaddis was hired a year ago from Michigan, okay, that was a big move. Everybody excited, man. They got the Michigan offensive coordinator. Michigan did this, Michigan did that, and now Cristobal's got him at Miami, and this is a big deal. But in his lone season, the results were not very good. Returning quarterback Tyler Van Dyke struggled in the new scheme before he missed 3 games with a shoulder injury. A lot of shoulder injuries, Mike. Miami ranked 86th in the nation in total offense, and that was down from a top 20 team in 2021. They ended up playing 3 quarterbacks when Van Dyke got hurt, and the Canes finished 5-7, and we voiced our opinion on that poor season in previous episodes. So change was made, and earlier this month, quarterbacks coach and passing coordinator Frank Ponce left Miami to return to his former job at App State as offense coordinator. So you even lost another guy who went back to a lower level of football. So again, Mike, is this, too soon, or that's about right?
I don't know why they hired him to begin with. You did say he came from Michigan. It's not like they got the most imaginative offense there is. Like, I don't get it. It's University of Michigan and most Big Ten schools have maybe 3 athletes on the field at any given time. I think it's the rule that they can't have more athletes. That's the way they coach, the way they recruit, and the way they play. He was not ballyhooed, as far as my concern, anyway, coming from Michigan. Cristobal has to make some kind of move to make himself look like he's really doing something. He's got to keep up with Dion. Like it or not, he's always going to be compared or rated to what Dion is doing. That's what I'm seeing now with the podcasts and the shows and the news things that I watch and watching sports. You always hear when someone talk about Cristobal, they always talk about Deion Sanders. Or you talk about Colorado, they talk about in Miami. I was watching a show the other day. Like one of the guys on the show was just like killing Deion, killing the kid who flipped from Miami to Colorado, saying he didn't think the kid was good. Matter of fact, the kid went from 5 stars to 4 because he decided not to go Miami. It reminds me of but that goes back when AJ was at the junior All-American camp down in San Antonio. That they run that U.S. Army Bowl when he was at the combine, and guys was telling him, whatever you do, first thing you need to tell everybody is that that Notre Dame is recruiting you because it makes you get more stars if Notre Dame wants you. It had nothing to do with his play. That was the first thing that they told him. Always lead with Notre Dame. It was one of the things when you're marketing yourself. So this whole thing with this kid losing a star because he went to Colorado instead of Miami, like it kind of taints these ratings is what I see anyway. So Cristobal is going to be in trouble. He's always going to be compared to Deion Sanders for some reason or another. And Miami didn't have a good record, but I don't think the offensive coordinator was the reason why they were they were. I just don't think they got the players like they used to. Like they're not getting. I mean, at one time you had all them dudes down there. You had Playmaker.
The state of Miami, according to the 40 for 30.
Man, they have studs. Them studs ain't going down there no more.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to go to Washington State. Washington State coach Jake Dickert has agreed to a contract extension that will keep him with the Cougars through the 2027 season. The school announced the extension last week, but did not release financial terms, probably because they're a Pac-12 school and it's not SEC money.
Yeah.
He just completed his first full season in charge of the Cougars, leading them to a 7-6 record and a second straight bowl game. That where we are. Dickert took over as interim coach because of Nick Rolovich, who was fired for refusing to get the vaccine against COVID. And we talked about that. That's why this story gave me pause, because this is the guy that was a $3 million a year coach. And because he didn't want to get vaccinated for whatever those reasons were at that time.
Yeah, this is old.
He was removed from the job, and now I believe he's coaching high school football as an assistant. But again, that Washington State ended last season with a loss to Fresno State in the Los Angeles Bowl, and they will open up their season next year against Colorado State. So, got a new contract extension. The former head coach is out of the business for now, and we'll see what happens. Mike, any thoughts about that whole Washington State thing? Because I was like, you gonna leave that because all right, whatever. Gotcha. Welcome to administration.
Yeah, I just don't I don't know how. I mean, we're still doing that over the vaccination. I understand the situation with that. He has a right to his, his own choices and things like that. But, they made a bowl.
7-6.
They made a bowl.
Contract extension.
Yeah. Why not?
7-6, get your contract.
Man, come on, man. You know how it is. Now it's 6-6. It was team 6-6 in the bowl, and the money that goes to show you the money that comes in from the bowl. You can get a contract extension. I can give you another $500,000 if I just got kicked 3. If I'm gonna make 3 off the bowl, you got to send.
Wow.
Right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. All right, we're gonna go to Tennessee, where they actually released the amount of money. With Tennessee coming off its best season in more than 2 decades, Coach Josh Heupel has been rewarded with a contract extension that's going to pay him $9 million a year. Mike, he's getting a raise of $4 million. And that's going to take him to 5th among SEC head football coaches. The only 4 coaches getting paid more: Nick Saban, Kirby Smart, Jimbo Fisher, and Brian Kelly, who got paid an extra $1 million by accident. Heupel's initial contract paid him $4 million a year. That was bumped up to $5 million last year. According to the details of the new contract released by the University of Tennessee, his buyout would be 100% of what he was owed if he was terminated without cause. Before December 15th, 2025, the buyout would drop to 75% if he was fired between December 2025 and December 2027. The buyout would decrease 50% on December 15, 2027. His incentive package was also increased. He will earn $100,000 for making a bowl game and up to $1 million for winning a national championship. Other incentives include $50,000 for finishing in the top 25, $100,000 for finishing in the top 10, $150,000 for finishing in the top 5, as well as additional money for playing in the SEC championship game, winning Coach of the Year, and his team reaching certain academic progress rate results. Hey, academics is in there. Towards the back a little bit. He also will receive increased private jet usage.
It's a what?
He will receive increased private jet usage, so he gets to use the jet a little more than he did before. If Heupel were to leave Tennessee, I ain't going nowhere, he would owe the school $8 million before December 15th. His buyout drops to $6 million until December 15th, 2024, and decreases by $1 million each year. Heupel would owe Tennessee $2 million if he left prior to December 15th, 2028. So here's how you get all of this money, Mike. In 2 seasons at Tennessee, Heupel is 18-8. The Volunteers were 11-2 this past season, 7-6 his first season. Before his arrival, Tennessee suffered through a lot of losing seasons, 3 out of the last 4 years. Tennessee finished number 6 in the AP poll, and they had College game day at their place twice, sold out 6 straight games at home, and were number 1 for 1 week. Any thoughts, man?
No, nice contract, dude. Like that's good. But he did turn it around a little bit. It looked good, but
$5 million?
It helps the quarterback that he had too. Don't forget now. He was there for the first part of that and what helped build that. So let's go there. That quarterback and the receiver. So
yeah,
$5 million because he got again. And the biggest thing we overlook is donors. We don't know how much they're putting into this. We don't know where they got the money from.
No.
These people who are making money, and donors make money off the university by advertising dollars and things like that anyway. So we don't know how much money is being put in to keep him. Donors want to keep you, they're going to keep you. They're going to ante up the money. Nick Saban's first comment when they was asking, he was complaining to his donors that Deion had more money. Or, you know what I mean? Like that.
Yeah. Yes.
Because Deion had Under Armour, Walmart, those kind of places that was helping in a little old school like Jackson. You know what I mean? So, hey, y'all got to get me this money so I can compete. So that was part of it. That's part of it. So, but I think Josh Heupel really, really earned to take Tennessee like he did. I think he's earned a pay raise. I'm never going to – we always say we're not going to knock how much and get the bag. That's the 3 words, GTP.
7-6 and 11-2 get
the bag.
Okay. All right. When we get back, fans, we are going to take some time to talk about National Signing Day, which occurred yesterday because this comes out on Thursday. We'll be right back on the iCoaches podcast.
The reviews are in for Dr. Keith Adams' book, Finding the Balance, My Personal Journey to Academic and Athletic Success. College professor and student-athlete academic expert Dr. Lisa Rubin said, "There is nothing out there like this book, so I do hope people will pay attention and give it a read." Former George Mason standout Folarin Campbell said, Consider this book an opportunity to work directly with Dr. Adams, just like I did. I assure you that there will be something you can take away that will be useful to you throughout your personal journey. Ryan Waite, a recent college graduate who is a software engineer, said, "I like how the book is based on research, which makes it good for general students as well as student athletes." The book serves as both a memoir to Dr. Adams' 30-year academic and athletic career, as well as an instructional guide to assist student athletes, parents, coaches, teachers, and administrators navigate through the challenges of finding a better balance between academic and athletic success. The book includes over 15 personal stories and anecdotes from Dr. Adams, along with numerous former players and colleagues from a variety of sports and endeavors. You can order your copy at www.ckasaveproject.org. From the main page, simply click CKA Save Project Services and order the Find the Balance book. For more information, contact Dr. Keith Adams by email at cka@ckasaveproject.org.
Welcome back to the Ad Coaches Podcast in segment 2. We're going to talk about National Signing Day. Wednesday, February 1st is National Signing Day, and CBS Sports, again, thank you for the information. We're going to talk about some teams and some players to keep an eye on. So we're going to open up with Colorado first, Mike, because Deion's got a big signing class coming in. So in December 2021, Deion Sanders and Travis Hunter shocked the world when Hunter announced that he would flip his commitment from Florida State to sign with Jackson State. After Sanders was hired at Colorado, Hunter waited things out a bit before announcing on the evening of the first day of early signing period that he'll be joining Sanders in Colorado. And now we got deja vu all over again because five-star Miami commit Cormani McClain opted not to sign with the Hurricanes. And last week, McClain announced that he was flipping to sign with Colorado. So that gives Deion 2 five-star cornerbacks. And as you've mentioned in previous shows, that's a big deal in this era of huck and chuck passing. Any thoughts on Colorado and making big moves?
Well, Deion is Deion. Deion's getting it done. I love to see what he's doing. I'm glad to see the guy that come all the way from youth coach. Like, we talk about guys can't get jobs right now. We just discussed this in the NFL. We discussed this in college. Guys that look like us don't get jobs. This guy's going from youth coach to high school coach to college coach at an FCS, and now he's at a Power 5 conference, and he's the same person he was, never changed his principles, and he's able to be successful doing so. And it upsets a lot of people because he's doing it to me, he's doing it the right way. He's not lying to kids. He's not selling kids. He's doing what he do as a father, as a man, as everything. As a man that had every position. He's been the athlete who's been recruited. He's been the professional player. He's been the parent, and he's been the coach. So.
Okay. All right, Jaden Rashada's recruitment. We want to keep an eye on that. So, five-star quarterback Jaden Rashada signed with Florida during the early signing period after flipping his commitment from Miami to the Gators 1 month prior. But after playing in the Under Armour All-Star game, Rashada turned home to the Bay Area. Things didn't work out with Florida based upon some type of disagreement with the NIL. He requested his release from his national letter of intent with Florida, which was eventually granted. Since he already signed a national letter of intent this cycle, Rashada won't sign with another school. He'll just enroll in classes. At this point, if it's a semester school, it would be in the summer. And if it's a quarter school, they can bring him into campus either March or April. Arizona State, where his father Harlan played, had him on campus last weekend with new coach Kenny Dillingham. He is also expected to visit TCU because Kendall Briles, who recruited Rashada when he was at Arkansas, is at TCU with offensive-minded Sonny Dykes. Any thoughts on Jaden Rashada's recruitment, sir?
Tough situation. Florida seems like they lost out, number one. You never stop recruiting your players for whatever reason. I don't like that he can enroll depending on if the school's trimester or semester. Like, I don't like that at all. I think there needs to be just one date, let it be what it is. It's kind of crazy because you don't stop. So a school with trimester and a school with semester still got the same amount of games, right?
Yes, but he is not enrolling as a scholarship athlete. He is enrolling in the general student population.
And that
So then
matters.
he
So
would be in a situation where he could get acclimated to the school.
So no kid that's not an athlete can enroll earlier, is what you're telling me.
I just said during their open enrollment periods for the spring semester or the trimester, as they do, he is enrolling similar to my friend Mike, who has to roll for insert classes. So it's his money, his dime, and then he would gain a scholarship at the next available open cycle.
Ain't his money. to make him decommit, it definitely ain't his money. And I don't want to hear about no NIL for this one. You know what I mean?
NLI is national letter of intent. And NIL is name, image, and likeness. And let the alphabet suit continue.
Well, the NIL is going to help him not spend his money. and they're not worried about the NLI.
Oh, right. Georgia.
Yes.
Georgia finished number 1 on the field for the second consecutive year. And while the Bulldogs are still in play for a couple of targets, it won't be enough to catch Alabama for the top spot in the national recruiting rankings. However, Georgia still has some intrigue because they're looking to boost tight end during this class. The team that boasts the Mackey Award winner Brock Bowers is going back to the West Coast in their pursuit of Deuce Robinson, the number 1 tight end, the 2023 class. Now, fans, Deuce is also a talented baseball player who could be drafted this summer to the major leagues. So we'll see what happens with that. And they're also still in the mix for Walker Lyons, a top 10 tight end nationally. So what do you think about Georgia trying to stock up the tight end room?
That's where it is. You know, it's definitely where it is. I remember when I had a conversation the first year Mike Loxley took over, we were having lunch. He and DeLon was sitting down, and his biggest thing was, I got to improve the tight end room. Mike, you got to see this tight end room. There was a freshman from our school, from me, and he's like, well, he has a chance to play because we have to get better at the tight end position. So it's very big, especially with that offense, if you can get a tight end, somebody who compete against those linebackers and hold them accountable, which will slow them down for the run coverage and run fits, because they have to also worry about pass. So, yeah, I think that's a big thing for Kirby. Shout out Kirby for doing it again and finishing back-to-back. And I hate to say he underrated, but because he's won two natties, but he's still underrated. Nobody really talks about Kirby Smart like they do everyone else. You know, we hear about, Josh Heupel did a great job. My man Lane Kiffin, who I love, Nick Saban, we talk about them. We talk about Jimbo Fisher. Everybody, when we start talking about college coaches, no one mentions the guy who's won the last 2 national championships.
And yes, I was ready to run through a wall when I heard his presentation
as well.
So with that in mind, just a reminder to student athletes and their parents and their coaches that you can do both. I'm looking forward to National Signing Day because only 4 of the top 100 players in the 2023 cycle are uncommitted, and 2 of them are track athletes, Nicholas Harbor and Roderick Pleasant. Neither Harbor nor Pleasant are just football players, though. Both are elite track athletes with realistic ambitions to play both football in college, in the NFL, as well as possibly being in the Summer Olympic team. Harbor is set to visit Oregon. You could do both there, which afford him a chance to visit Eugene, which is Tracktown, USA. He also has Mike, Maryland, Michigan, and South Carolina on his list. So we're going to keep an eye on that. And Pleasant has already visited Oregon and is a defending California 100-meter and 200-meter state champion. He has been named his Final 5 to Boston College, Cal, Oregon, UCLA, and USC, but he has no more visits scheduled.
My man got to holler at my man. He got to holler at Loxley, man. We had Torrey Smith. We had Diggs. Like, we love them track guys over here at College Park. We can let you do both. You can do both at Maryland. Come on, man.
So, Mike, before we close this segment, we talked about National Signing Day. You've been a football coach for a lot of years. Anything you would want to do to tweak National Signing Day, or is it fine the way it is?
Honestly, since AJ's gone, 2008, I don't think it's changed pretty much. I don't know if there's something that can be done electronically. I don't know if they're still doing by fax machine, because I know you spent all day waiting by the fax machine. Like, it was crazy. It was really, really nuts. And they was on our back, because you really don't know until that fax comes across the wire. You don't know. And it was serious. And they recruit you, but they still worry about you flipping on that.
Mm-hmm.
If you flipping on that day, you never know what comes across fax or what you don't hear if someone ghosts you. I do remember that. It was rough. I mean, they was calling us. They can't call you, but up until that day, as to that last day where they could call, man, they was big. And this is what you got to do, and we need to make sure. And if you don't mind, we're gonna send it to we did a signing at the house, and it was different papers, but they sent it to the school, had him do it at the school. It was crazy. It was crazy.
Well, being there with following in that piece, the only thing I would want to do with the signing days, I would kind of want to tighten the recruiting calendar up. I would kind of want to tighten up the signing day calendar up. And my question is,
how?
I would just want to tighten it up in terms of beginning and middle and end point. And my question to you before we close the segment is, what is the benefit of the early signing day in this age of NIL? Because I hear more guys trying to get out of a deal, getting into a deal. So what's the cost benefit analysis of still having the early signing day? I'm going to defer to your knowledge and expertise, but if we just had one signing day and we made it at this point, all of the coaching hires have been done, all the internal movements have been done, and the high school players themselves could have a better, clear idea of what's going on, as opposed to coaches early decommit, whatever.
Yeah, coaches too. We all need some kind of uniformity. It wouldn't hurt.
So that's just me. But with that, we'll be back, fans, and we're going to talk a little bit about San Diego State possibly going to the Pac-12 when we get back on the Odd Coaches podcast.
There is an old business adage that says, what gets measured and monitored gets done. It is also fact that deadlines spur action. That is what the CKA Save Project's academic monitoring service can do for student athletes. Measure and monitor their academic progress to improve their grades. Our academic monitoring services provide ongoing academic support for student athletes for a designated period of time. Our academic success coaches work with student athletes on time management and organizational skills, along with improving their ability to self-advocate. Every few weeks, our academic success coaches meet with student athletes to assess their academic progress, as well as provide ongoing academic advising. If needed, student athletes have access to CKA Learning Specialists who provide virtual core subject academic support for student athletes. For more information, visit us on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org or schedule a free virtual consultation with Dr. Keith Adams by email at cka@ckasaveproject.org.
Welcome back to the Odd Coaches podcast. In segment 3, shout out to the West Coast and my own family who lives in San Diego. We want to talk about San Diego State. And Mike, I want to start off with this quote, because San Diego is beautiful, weather's good all year, and college football is like, not the end all be all. So they got a new stadium coming to San Diego State University, and it's called Snapdragon Stadium. And San Diego State's athletic director I'm sorry. This is Coach Brady Hoke, and Brady Hoke used to be at Notre Dame, so he's their football coach. So Brady Hoke's been a well-traveled coach, and he said there are more bars in that stadium than there are in most cities. That's the quote about the new Snapdragon Stadium that I just love. That is 2023 college football. Okay. So Snapdragon Stadium is a 35,000 seat boutique type stadium that has a lot of culture, history, food, and brew built onto San Diego, which is a very expensive place to live. It opened last year on time, on budget, and San Diego State is trying to rebrand, renew, and rally their fan base into being a football haven. They've had good players at San Diego State over the years, and they've been dying to come to the Pac-12. And with USC and UCLA leaving, this is the time that they think they're going to be invited to the ball. You can drive down I-5. Pac-12 said it would consider expansion once it signs its new media rights deal. Well, I can tell you what the media rights deal won't be. It won't be the Big Ten.
No, it
won't be the SEC.
Nope.
I don't think it'll be the Big 12. So I don't know what they're waiting for, but sources tell CBS Sports that the deal is expected to be made in the first quarter of 2023 with Amazon or another streaming service and ESPN. And then expansion would follow. Regardless, it must happen fast because USC and UCLA are leaving.
Yeah, they ain't coming back.
Okay. So there is an unofficial assumption within the industry that the Pac-12 has no choice but to use SDSU to make sure it has Southern California. Their athletic director, who is a well-traveled, well-spoken, well-liked, all of that piece, he was up for the Mississippi State job because that was his alma mater. But they hired Zach Selman, member of the Selman family with Dewey, Leroy, and Lucius. But if things progress, he could stay at San Diego State and be a Power 5 AD. Mike, what do you think about San Diego State in the Pac-12 possibly?
It's a good move for them. And if you're trying to do expansion, you have to, because again, location is great. The things they have to offer. I know that their spring sports programs are pretty good.
Yeah, and basketball's not bad at all.
Yeah, it's not, but you don't do things like that just for basketball when you're in those, that kind of area. Like some of these conferences do one sport great and then everything else is subpar and they just let it go for what it is. But I think the SEC shows you can do both football and basketball because you look at Kentucky and you look at their history and you look at South Carolina women's. You look at you can have other sports and you got football. The national champ has been the last, since we've had these playoffs. It's Alabama's been in there, Georgia's been in there, and other conferences just seem to fall off and they don't have like more than one season. Like your spring and your fall sports can still be competitive, and I think that would be good because San Diego State can add to that conference. I think they're going to add a lot to that conference. Maybe even, it's never going to take the place of the two that's leaving. Let's get that.
No. They are not. They are not USC.
That is not.
They are not UCLA.
Let's say that first.
They are Demolition, who are Road Warrior ripoffs, but they had a nice career too. That's kind of how I see San Diego State.
He said Demolition.
You knew they were a hawking animal. You're like, hey man, that's some fake Road Warriors. But they had a nice run. And they did the job. Okay, so just as good, half as cheap. Okay, 35. I mean, seriously, we're talking about a 35,000 seat stadium. Okay, the Horseshoe's 100 and whatever. Michigan's 100 whatever. Heck, man, even DQ, whatever they call our stadium, 60 something. So, I mean, we're not even, and they're not going to fill it up. So let's stop. Okay, stop it.
Go ahead, man.
Last thing today, we're going to talk about Marcus Stokes, and I want to get Mike's thoughts on this as we close. So back in November, the University of Florida withdrew its scholarship offer from four-star quarterback Marcus Stokes after video emerged of him singing the song lyrics that contained questionable lyrics, the N-word. Just months later, he received an offer from HBCU program Albany State. So again, you have a white quarterback who's listening to rap music, got a little too, as we like to say in the neighborhood, a little too familiar. And it cost him his scholarship. He apologized. He fully accepted the consequences of his actions. And after the incident, most Power Fives backed off of recruiting him, but he has received offers from the FCS schools. On some point last week, he tweeted that he received a new scholarship from Albany State. Mike, do we have selected outrage, or what are you thinking? Any thoughts as we close out on Marcus Stokes? Should he been punished? What would you do in that situation? Is it an education thing?
We're
in the school system. We have seen this daily of people being a little too familiar with the word and said the rapper said it. I'm just singing a song. Okay. But this time it cost this gentleman a scholarship. And now HBCUs are offering him scholarships. I
want to know why the coach was apologizing yesterday.
The coach? No, he apologized. The player?
No.
Oh, okay.
The coach apologized yesterday.
You got info that I don't have.
He's a new coach. I guess he's saying he wasn't aware of the situation, but he went had a press conference and everything, apologizing that they offered the guy. The president made sure he called the coach in and told him that, anybody intending to represent ASU, has to do more and understand the richness of the history. I don't know what's going to happen. It never said they took his scholarship away. It never said they rescinded the offer. It just says that the coach had to, apologize.
Wow. And yes, they issued statements. Wow. And they call it a controversial football offer. Wow. Okay. Well, so would you offer this young scholar at that level, or is he? We're in education. People make mistakes all the time. He's a four-star prospect. People have done worse and gotten.
I was going to say we have seen a lot worse. Like I think the Eagles tight end.
Yes.
I don't forget.
At the show,
the concert.
Too much liquid courage.
Yeah, he should have been punched in his mouth in the locker room. And anybody who didn't punch him in the mouth is a chump. Point blank. You had Richie Incognito situation.
Yeah, he went on to have a fine career.
I'm just saying, I don't forget these. I don't forget these things because Richie. But my son said he don't think it happened. Remember, my son was in the locker room with all that was going on in Miami.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? My son said Richie who he is, but he had his own opinion of what happened, and I'll share that with you offline at some point. But nah.
Wow. So the coach said the decision was unacceptable and it brought pain to our university. According to CBS Sports, again, one of my fast light site. Wow.
But it didn't say that they rescinded the offer. Like, that's what got me. Why are we having this conversation if you're not taking the scholarship offer away?
So again, in terms of anybody who makes a mistake, you first have to admit that you were wrong. And this kid released a lengthy apology at the time, said, I'm wrong, and he owned it. And then you try to make amends for it. That's what we teach our own children.
This is such a it's bad because he's listening to the music. He's listening to the music. He's rapping the music. Had it been any other kid, would we even have this conversation right now?
Wow. Yeah, this is...
Say it with Shador Sanders. Would we be having this conversation?
Wow. No.
I'm saying, it's very tough. And I'm not saying I lean either way. I'm just, I don't want it to be misrepresented like I'm like supporting what he did or anything like that. But I'm just saying.
We sit in meetings daily with kids who do really challenging to understand things. And we still have to teach them, guide them, and help them become better people.
I got a meeting first thing tomorrow about something similar, so trust me.
All right. Well, we're going to leave this unsaid, and good luck to you, sir. And I hope things do work out for you, because you're young, you're impulsive, you lack myelin, which is brain matter. So that is statistically and scientific. But anyway, on behalf of my tag team partner, Coach Mike Francis, I am Dr. Keith Adams, saying thank you for listening and watching the Yacht Coaches podcast. And we will see you on the sidelines. Till next time, take care.
The Odd Coaches podcast is sponsored by the CKA Save Project. The CKA Save Project is an industry leader in providing student-athlete academic and athletic support. From assessing student-athletes' academic and athletic skills, to measuring and monitoring student-athlete academic progress, to improving student-athlete time management and organizational skills, the CKA Save Project provides wraparound services for student-athletes from middle school through college. For more information, visit us on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org or schedule a free consultation with Dr. Keith Adams by emailing cka@ckasaveproject.org. We hope you enjoyed today's show. The Odd Coaches podcast drops new episodes every Tuesday through Friday on most weeks. Make sure you subscribe to the Odd Coaches podcast on Apple Music, iHeartRadio, Podbean, Spotify, and YouTube. Follow the Odd Coaches podcast on Twitter and Instagram at Odd Coaches. Follow Dr. Adams on Twitter and Instagram at CKA Save Project. In addition, follow Coach Mike Francis on Twitter and Instagram at Coach Franchise, spelled Coach Franchize. For more information about the CKA Save Project, please visit them on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org. See you next time on the Odd Coaches podcast.